Berube, and this is where I work. So these are some of my books. Hannah and Sugar I wrote and illustrated. I also illustrated The Summer Nick Taught His Cats to Read. And this year My Little Half Moon came out and I illustrated this one as well. This is by Todd Jennerich, and The Summer Nick Taught His Cats to Read is by Manley. So over there you can see some of the artwork from Hannah and Sugar's up on the walls. Most of those are final paintings that are the art that's in the book, but I hung up one piece, which is the sepia-toned houses, are what the dummy looked like. So I made the whole book in ink and ink washes, and that's what I sent out to publishers. And then there you can see the final painting. So these are some of the sketches for the dummy also, like the house sepia tone ones. So a dummy is made, if you're not familiar, when you make a book, you do a sketch dummy, and that's what you send to publishers, and then you make final art after the publishers sort of approved all the drawings. I like to do the sketches in ink. I think it's more fun, and it's more, since all of my work is done with ink lines, it translates better. I have done some sketch dummies in pencil, when it's harder to make the translation. But yeah, and then the values really helped me for this book, sort of figuring out what the final art would look like, but I don't always have time to do that much of a detailed dummy. Since this was my first book, I spent more time with the dummy. This one I took the sketches and put them on a light box and traced just the lines, the outlines, and sort of tightened them up a little bit so you can see all of the, there's like a lot of little subtle changes, I think. Like Hannah's a little bit more refined. And I made the rain different and the rainy scene. And then I took the wheel of the bus out because it seemed like extra detail, things like that. And then I trace it with pencil, and then I redraw the drawing with ink, and then I paint it. This is my little light box. So, for example, if I was going to be working on this page, I would probably measure it out better to make sure the trim is right. Sugar might bark if anyone walks by. I'll often close the blinds too to make so I can see these lines better. So I haven't drawn Hannah in a while, so I'd forget. As you draw the same character over and over, I think you get better at sort of making them always look the same. Sort of get really familiar with their shape and their proportions. Next up, I would take out my ink. So this is the ink I used for all my work. It's Liquitex ink, transparent per number. And I draw with the shish kebab skewer.
Do you have one special kebab, or do you have many?
I usually use the same one for a book. So this one you can see has this paint in the bottom. That's how I remembered it for the last book I worked on. I usually sand down the bottom a little bit to make the right shape. It also often takes me anywhere from a couple times to 8 times to get the drawing right. So I'll do this, and if I'm not happy with how it came out, I might trace this drawing, I might trace the other drawing, start all over again with pencil.
Do you always use this color of ink?
Yes, I always use the same ink. So for arms.
Do you have to get yourself in the mood your character is in when you're drawing?
I think so. I think it does actually help. I think I do a little bit of like feeling the feeling. And I'll often make little changes from the pencil. Like, see, I moved that foot. It's a little too long. Her hair doesn't look right. I haven't drawn her in so long. Okay, then next I would dry it. Next up, I dry it. Then I have to erase the pencil lines. Looks pretty good. Next up is the color. This is the paint I use. It's called Flash. It's like, it works a lot like acrylic, but the binder is vinyl, and it dries matte instead of glossy like acrylic. I actually put them all in this little container. And those are all my colors. You can see some of them are, the labels are up here. Some of them are acrylic, and some of them are the Flash. For Hannah and Sugar, I actually only used one red, one blue, and one yellow. So, and then I used this ink for all the brown. So, see if I can remember the colors of things. Her hair is brown. Hannah always wore red in some way, so maybe we'll make her shirt red.
So the flash is permanent, so it doesn't reactivate when you wet it again.
So it's similar to a watercolor, but it doesn't reactivate. And the same thing with the ink, which is what I did with the ink. I think this was the blue for her pants. And that I did mix actually with the acrylic, or with the ink. It's gonna bleed. She's a little too pink. All right. Experiment.
So how many layers do you usually do, Kate?
I usually do a lot of layers. This is actually faster than normal. Usually I would thin it down and slowly build up some of the colors.
Yeah.
I usually paint all the shadows with the sepia same brown. That's good, right? So there's Hannah. This is my little half moon. I hung up some of the art for you guys to see also from this one. This book's a little different because I made it with collage. So the one on the bottom right is the final painting that was in the book. And those top three are not collage. Those are when I was trying to figure out what the final art style would be. And the color choices, the palette. Even sort of, you can see one of them's really loose. I was experimenting with drawing faster. And I just wasn't really happy with what I was getting. And so I kept trying things. And down below you'll see one of the pages. You can see there's the sketch from the sketch dummy. And then the next drawing over is a study I was doing for color, sort of a color sample, and I wasn't happy with the way the dark lines got lost against the dark sky. And so I came up to the solution of using collage, and you can see the final painting to the right and the way that the ropes of the swings stand out because they're the white paper is showing. So this part is a separate piece of paper that's glued on
Wow.
the background.
So those strings are each part of the same paper.
Yeah, this is all one sheet of paper here.
One piece, wow.
You can see, maybe if you look at this one from an angle, can you kind of see how that's
Oh yeah.
glued on the kid onto one background. It also made it easier for me to make the stars and the sort of splattered starry skies. So that was really fun. To warm up in the morning, where I make things with collage a lot, so I think that's probably where I got the idea. If you look over here, all these boxes of papers are little bits and pieces that I save, and you can see a lot of times I'll save letters, envelopes when people send me mail, and then the little scraps from when I paint, receipts and movie ticket stubs and restaurant menus, things from when I travel, and I glue them all together in these collage books. Here you can see this one has lots of different, here's a menu, different drawings collaged together. So some of it's drawn right on top with pen, and some of it's collage. And it's a way for me to just warm up, I guess, and have fun, be playful, try different things, try different materials. This is a really early one, actually. It's kind of interesting to see how it's changed. I think it used to be a lot more abstract, and I was just playing with, I really always loved that one. And when I started these, my rule for myself was that I couldn't post them or share them anywhere. It was a way for me to make art that wasn't about immediately doing something with it. So, I don't know how many years this is, but this isn't even all of them. And then sometimes when I'm doing those collage morning warm-up drawings, if I really like a character, I'll hang them up on the wall. And of course I have some art by other people up. These are drawings from my nieces and nephew. This wall is some of my art from illustrators. I have Stieg original that my husband gave me once for Christmas. It's pretty awesome. And a little sketch I stole that Christian Robinson did at a workshop I went to. Greg Pizzoli, the dog, Suzanne Kaufman, Karina Lukin. I have a Matthew Cordell sketch up there. That's my sheet pan rack that I use for storing my artwork. It's a little bit chaotic, but you can see there's labels for different books and different projects I'm working on. And you know, some of my little bits and pieces from my life. My troll doll from when I was a kid. I don't know, what is that? He-Man? It's one of those characters from when I was a kid. And then I have a lot of kids' books because I used to work at Powell's and couldn't leave work without bringing a book home many times. The fun thing about working at Powell's is I always came up with lots of interesting, like, vintage books. I feel like I have all kinds of unique old books. I learned a lot about picture books and stories by talking to kids about books and talking to people who buy books, reading lots of books. Thanks for visiting my studio. It actually won't be my studio for that much longer because I have a little one on the way and it's going to be her room, and my studio is going to move out to our garage.
Hannah and sugar, Hannah and sugar, Hannah and sugar. Every day, waiting at the bus stop. Every day is Sugar the dog, and every day Hannah's afraid of sugar. But then one day, little Sugar disappeared. Then one day,